Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen the title, you've seen the thumbnail. Today, we're going to be talking about Naruto with cursed energy. Could you just begin to imagine how powerful Naruto would be if on top of all the overpowered things that he already has access to, you would give Naruto cursed energy on top of that? And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So if you're a person that likes overpowered Naruto, this is the video for you. But unfortunately, the man isn't exactly going to always be the strongest. That said, today's video is going to be laying the foundation for this series, and most likely every day from here to probably part 5 or 6, I'm going to be dropping a new video every day. So go ahead and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in part 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, and one more thing, if you guys manage to somehow love this video as much as humanly possible and smash 4,000 likes, I promise I'll drop the full movie in 24 hours. That said, enjoy. This is so hard, Naruto would say, as he'd be in the forest trying to learn the multi-shadow clone jutsu technique. While he's sitting there trying to master it, he'd be thinking about what Mizuki had told him, that all he has to do is take the scroll of sealing and learn one jutsu from within it to show that he could be a genin. Naruto, struggling, would eventually sort of have a figuring it out of it. Not exactly mastering it, but getting closer and closer and closer. It'd be at this point that Iruka sensei would come out from a tree as he would say, "Naruto, what are you doing?" As Naruto would turn to Iruka and say, "Oh, Iruka sensei, I'm so glad you're here. I'm almost about to master it, you know?" As Iruka, turning towards Naruto, would say, "What are you talking about, Naruto? And why did you steal the scroll of sealing?" As Naruto would say, "It's okay. I took the scroll of sealing. Mizuki told me about it." And as Naruto would say this, you could hear a gigantic kunai swooshing in the air. In the original, it pierced Iruka in his back, who jumped in the way to defend Naruto. But in this specific timeline, we're going to be saying that it ends up hitting a vital organ in Iruka, and Iruka, falling onto his knees, would look at Naruto, blood coming out of his mouth, as Naruto would say, "Iruka sensei!" Looking up to see who would have done something like this, Naruto sees none other than Mizuki himself. As Naruto, seeing that Mizuki was the one who threw that kunai, Naruto in shock would say, "Why? Why would you kill Iruka sensei?" As Mizuki would say, "You're a fool, Naruto. Now hand over the scroll. I don't have to answer to you." And Naruto, seeing this, would feel so much fear and so much anxiety in this moment. Naruto doesn't know what to do. Naruto, gripping onto the scroll, doesn't know whether he should give it to him or run away with it. Why did he want the scroll so badly? But Naruto knew one thing: he needed to survive. And so Mizuki would say one more time, "I'm not gonna tell you again, Naruto. Hand me the scroll or I'm gonna kill you." Knowing that damn well, the second that Naruto did hand the scroll, he was gonna kill him regardless. That said, Naruto, looking up towards Mizuki, would go to begin getting closer and closer to hand the scroll. With the scroll now being in Mizuki's possession, Mizuki would say, "You're an even bigger fool than I thought. First, you fought in my trap to get the scroll, and now you give it to me? The village is gonna hail me as a hero after I killed the demon brat." And Naruto, hearing that, realizes that Mizuki, he was never gonna let him leave. Not alive, at least. As Naruto in this moment would be flooded with so many emotions that Naruto couldn't even control it. But one thing would be for certain: all of them were 100% negative. And because of this would end up unintentionally triggering Naruto's cursed energy. Now, I'm not exactly a cursed energy genius, but I am introducing my own concept, my own power set, my own limitless technique, my own awakening and stuff like that into the cursed technique stuff like that happens in the Jujutsu Kaisen world. So if there's anything that I get wrong about cursed energy, please correct me down below in the comments as much as you guys can and explain it to me if you guys are willing to. That way, the video could just keep getting better and better and better as the series goes on. That said, Naruto at this point, with his cursed energy technique activating, Naruto would go completely invisible. Mizuki wouldn't be able to see him at this point, and Naruto, standing there with Mizuki being completely stunned, would say, "Naruto, where did you go? Stop hiding, Naruto. I'm gonna find you one way or the other." As Naruto, standing in front of Mizuki, would be confused as he would wonder why Mizuki was playing with him. Even this close to death, Mizuki still decided that he was gonna play with his food before he killed him. That made Naruto so angry. But Naruto started running away, and Mizuki could hear his footsteps, but for some reason Mizuki didn't know where they were going. he just turned towards the direction where Naruto was at and he would say, "Naruto, get back here! Where are you?" Naruto at this point would realize that Mizuki must not be joking. He can somehow gauge where he's going, but he can't see him. And it'd be at this point that Naruto would look at his hands only to see that he could see right through them. He could see more or less an invisible silhouette, and nobody else could see him, but he could see himself as if he was transparent. Naruto, seeing this, would realize that some way, somehow, he became invisible, and Naruto would think that this is some sort of jutsu or something that he unintentionally used. So Naruto would run, but Mizuki, hearing the footsteps, would chase after Naruto, and Naruto, in a moment of being absolutely terrified and realizing that he needs to do a better job hiding, would end up hiding behind a tree, as Mizuki would be left standing there as he would go on to tell him, "Come on, brat, no one's gonna miss you when you're gone. Plus, I need to make sure I eliminate you. Come out, Naruto, and I'll at least make your death a quick one." Naruto, hearing this, would be scared, and the thought of Iruka dying to Mizuki would be flooding his head. Naruto at this moment just is completely unsure of what to do, but Naruto knows he has to survive. So Naruto, taking advantage of this opening, would begin to create the hand signs for the multi-shadow clone jutsu, as suddenly, as Mizuki would be looking around, a couple of shadow clones would appear and they would be Naruto, but some of them would be invisible. And suddenly, this barrage of invisible and visible Naruto clones would rush in at Mizuki, as this man would get absolutely clobbered, being completely knocked out and taken out of the battle completely. All the while, Hiruzen, who would be watching through his crystal ball, would have seen everything play out, and Hiruzen, knowing that Iruka was dead, would have quickly made his way onto the scene. And as he arrives, Naruto would turn, being on full alert, being on his guard, as he would then see that it was nobody but Hiruzen. Naruto at this point would thank Hiruzen for showing up, as Hiruzen would ask Naruto how he did that, with Naruto saying that he used the scroll of sealing, that he was tricked by Mizuki, he swears, as Hiruzen would say that he knows that he understands that, but that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the fact that Naruto became completely invisible, even to him and his crystal ball. And Naruto, hearing that, would say, "Oh, it was a jutsu, right? It must have been. I've never done something like that before, but in that moment, it just kind of happened." Hiruzen at this point would be like, "That's so interesting. Well, can you do it again?" Naruto would try to replicate it, but would be completely unable to, having all those emotions and that feeling that had pretty much led him to using cursed energy, having completely dissipated, considering the fact that Naruto was now jumping for joy at the fact that he defeated Mizuki. That said, Hiruzen would personally hand Naruto a leaf shinobi headband, as Naruto, seeing it, would say, "What's that?" And Hiruzen would say, "You defeated a Genin, Naruto. You can be a ninja." I almost delivered that like All Might, saying "you can be a hero," but anyways, Naruto, seeing this, would just start tearing up, as Hiruzen would give Naruto a hug, and right after this would happen, Hiruzen would simply tell Naruto that he'll take him home. He would walk Naruto home, and once Naruto would arrive, Naruto would be so tired from the experience that he just had, as Naruto would pass out on the bed, and the next day would come around where Naruto would be inside of the academy just waiting for Iruka sensei to finally enter. When he would finally do so, Iruka would go on to explain that there's going to be some teams for, the new rookie teams. And so everybody else would be chosen, as Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke would be placed onto Team 7. After this would happen, a couple of hours would pass by, as Kakashi would finally enter the room, and once he could get a glimpse of his team, he would kind of nod, as Naruto in this specific timeline wouldn't be pulling the prank, just because, while everybody else was, Sasuke would be kind of like waiting and contemplating, Sakura staring at him. This version of Naruto is just deep in thought about what happened the day before, wanting to know if there's any way for Naruto to reuse that jutsu, to turn invisible. Thinking of it as the coolest ability ever, seeing as the kid is 12 or 11, I'm not really entirely sure. Maybe, wait, no, isn't he 13? I don't know, but the kid is young and he wants to be able to replicate that feeling. That said, eventually the team would be asked what their goals are and their dislikes, and everybody else's would be the same except for Naruto. Naruto would actually go on to say that his likes are ramen, and that his goal, his likes are ramen, and that he hates to be treated like he's invisible. But as for his goal, Naruto would say that he wants to be noticed and to be somebody. So he's gonna become the Hokage, so everyone's gonna have to notice him and start treating him like he's somebody. After Naruto would say this, Kakashi would then go on to explain the bell test and how they shouldn't eat for the next day. And so Team 7 would end up dispersing and all doing their own thing. In the original, I'm pretty sure Naruto tried being a pervert and trying to kiss Sakura by transforming into Sasuke, but in this specific timeline, yeah, that's not happening. Instead, what actually ends up taking place is that Naruto would make his way onto the training grounds, trying to see if there's any way for him to replicate that jutsu that he used yesterday. And Naruto would do everything. This dude is trying his absolute hardest to turn invisible some way, somehow, but every time that he would look at his hands and form random hand signs for jutsus, Naruto just feels nothing. He feels like he's not doing anything, and eventually Naruto would just try to push as hard as he possibly can to force his body to turn invisible, but suddenly you could just hear a noise come out of Naruto's butt as Naruto, finally understanding that he's most likely not going to be able to replicate it, would end up making his way home, deciding that, yeah, he has to go use the bathroom. That said, Naruto would end up getting a good night's sleep, and the very next day would roll around where the team would now be faced with the bell test. Now, much like in the original, Naruto's still going to be most of the same character that we're all used to, just because the only change that has happened to Naruto's life as of this point is his encounter with Mizuki and the death of Iruka, as well as his access to cursed energy. So Naruto's personality, it's going to be exactly the same one that we get in Canyon, with it slowly changing over time due to Naruto's newfound power and strength. But with that being said, Naruto, just like in the original, would end up rushing at Kakashi the second that he would go on to count, and Naruto would try to show off, trying to show that he can get the bell and that he could do it alone and beat Sasuke so he could show off in front of Sakura. Naruto would get absolutely clobbered by Kakashi, as Naruto would finally understand the difference between a ninja like Kakashi and somebody like himself. Naruto at this point would start to realize that if he doesn't get that bell, he's gonna go back to the academy, and his dream of becoming Hokage is gonna disappear before his eyes. It's gonna be like sand going through his fingers. Naruto doesn't want that to happen, and these thoughts would start to accumulate until Naruto would start overthinking and just watching as Kakashi's sitting there reading his book, looking nonchalant, like Naruto's not even a threat. This would bother Naruto as he would grit his teeth, and suddenly Naruto would turn invisible. It'd be at this point that Naruto would rush in at Kakashi once more, and Kakashi would actually get caught off guard by Naruto, who nearly actually lands a hit on Kakashi, if it weren't for the fact that Kakashi heard noise getting closer and closer, and he heard Naruto's footsteps as he was approaching. Barely being able to dodge out of the way, Kakashi realizing that Naruto must have turned invisible, he would be absolutely stunned, wondering how in the world this is possible, as Naruto, continuing to try to fight against Kakashi, would swing, and you'd be surprised, but some blows would actually land. Like a couple of hits would land on Kakashi, which forces him to jump back, wondering what jutsu that is, as Naruto would continue trying to engage in a fight with Kakashi, but he would realize that for some reason Kakashi's still keeping up even though he can't see him. Naruto would realize that experienced ninjas must be able to even fight things that they can't see. And so Naruto would smirk as he would use the multi-shadow clone jutsu to create 5 clones, which would all rush at Kakashi at the same time, and all 3 of them would be invisible, but 2 of them wouldn't be. So Kakashi would quickly take those out, and the remaining clones would all attack him from every single angle. It'd be at this point that Kakashi, realizing that he is absolutely going to be like being overwhelmed by the fact that he's fighting 4 invisible like people, Kakashi would end up having to jump back and substituting to get some space between them, as Kakashi would think that there's no way he actually has to use this against Naruto, but he would think he is the 4th son, as it'd be at this point that Kakashi would reveal the Sharingan, and to his surprise, he still wasn't able to see the chakra of Naruto. The invisible ones truly are invisible to the naked eye, so Kakashi would realize that he was going to be having to use the rest of his senses for this fight. So Kakashi would once more hide his Sharingan, meaning that Sasuke still hasn't seen it, as he would go back into the fight, and he would simply have to look at the ground to see the footprints that are left behind by Naruto, and just simply try to guess where Naruto is. Eventually though, Naruto would, not eventually though, but what's the word I'm looking for? as the fight goes on, Naruto would actually land a couple of hits on Kakashi, who isn't able to dodge everything, because mind you, it's like 5 people coming at him, and it's, or no, 4, and it's, you know, not exactly easy to dodge something you can't see. If it's 1 person, maybe, but if 4, that's a bit much. That said, eventually one of the Naruto clones would actually get his hands on the bells and snatch them out of Kakashi's waist, which was the thing that he was avoiding the most, but because he couldn't see them, it was extremely hard for him to do so. And so, Naruto, having the bells, would just start jumping up and down as Kakashi would crack a little bit of a smile, thinking that Naruto is something special. He would go on to ask Naruto what that jutsu of his was, and Naruto would say that he's not sure, but it's his invisible jutsu. And Kakashi, hearing this, would wonder how exactly he does this, thinking that it must be some sort of Kekkei Genkai or something, thinking that maybe when the Namikaze and the Uzumaki blood mixed, it might have created something new, something that only Naruto has access to. And Sakura and Sasuke, watching from the trees, would be absolutely stunned at the fact that Naruto was able to do something like that against Kakashi. Sasuke, through gritted teeth, would say, "So what? Does that mean that he's gonna be the only one that goes back that is part of this team since he took both bells?" As Naruto would say, "Don't be silly, Sasuke. Me and Sakura are gonna be the ones that make it on this team." As he would throw a bell towards Sakura, and she would say, "Ew, Naruto, I don't want to be on a team with you." As she would say, "If Sasuke's going back to the academy, well then you can just send me right back as well." As Kakashi from here would be absolutely shocked at the fact that this team is acting like this. They're acting like spoiled little... Oh, right. They are kids. Anyways, that being the case, Kakashi, seeing that Naruto has these abilities, would end up still telling them that they failed, as Naruto would be the only one tied to the stump, and Kakashi would tell them not to feed Naruto. As this happens, Naruto would be questioned by Sasuke, as he would ask him how in the world he did that, and Naruto would say that he's still unsure, but it's his own special jutsu, and a magician never reveals his secrets. Sasuke would just scoff at this, being like, "Tch, whatever." As suddenly, you could just hear Naruto's stomach growling, and Sasuke would realize that they're most likely going to need Naruto and his strange jutsu if they're going to want to beat Kakashi. So Sasuke would offer him his food, and this would lead to Team 7 passing just like they do in the original. Kakashi coming out and explaining that they pass, telling them that a person who abandons the mission for their friends is scum, yada yada yada, somebody who leaves their friends is worse than scum, something along those lines. I honestly forgot it. But the point is, after becoming Team 7, they have about 2 weeks worth of D rank missions, where they're kind of just doing their best trying to catch cats and walking old ladies down the streets and things of that nature. Very, very easy missions. But because these 2 weeks would have passed, Naruto would have had an entire 2 weeks to think about how to use this invisibility power that he has, but unfortunately for Naruto's completely unable to do it at all, considering the fact that cursed energy works off of negative emotions, and it's not like Naruto has to be in a negative emotion state, but he does have to be in the mind state that he was in, not negative necessarily, but in the mind state to use cursed energy. And because Naruto's unable to create the perfect storm in order to use cursed energy, Naruto has absolutely zero access to his invisibility power. So Naruto mainly just focuses on the multi-shadow clone and taijutsu, and that's all Naruto would really be working on. That said though, eventually the Tazuna Bridge Builder mission would finally come around, and Naruto would not exactly be ready for it. I'd like to say that Naruto's able to, have some really cool encounter with the Demon Brothers this time around because he turns invisible and does something really cool, but no. Yeah, no. The same stuff that happens in the original pretty much is what we end up getting, and that translates to not only the Demon Brothers situation where Sasuke gets to call Naruto a scaredy cat, but also the battle between Zabuza and Kakashi. Because right there, Naruto's not exactly going to just be whipping out his invisibility power out of nowhere. That's just not how things are going to be working. So those two things pretty much just get glossed over, not because they're not important, but because it's exactly the same. It would just be me telling you the Bridge Builder mission as a what if. That being the case, Naruto and Sasuke would both be training, which is what we're going to be skipping to do the tree walking stuff. And this is where things start to get a little interesting for Naruto, because Naruto's chakra control is absolute butt cheeks, but it's not even like it's his fault. We all understand that Kurama's the one interfering with that, but as for his cursed energy, Kurama doesn't get to do that with that. And so, I can sort of see Naruto's training during the tree walking stuff actually helping Naruto to gauge what cursed energy actually even is. And so Naruto would start to have a little bit of a better understanding on cursed energy, not exactly being able to activate his invisibility cloak powers just yet, but he's able to like sort of understand that it's some sort of energy that's different from chakra, and finally grasps that it's not the same thing. That being the case, we would eventually get the meeting between Haku and Naruto after Haku would have completely exhausted himself, or did I say Haku exhausted himself? No, Naruto exhausted himself from the tree walking training. That said, we would eventually jump cut straight to the day that we would have the battle on the Great Naruto Bridge, and things would be going just like they do in the original. Naruto would jump in out of nowhere as the knuckle-headed ninja would arrive onto the scene, and Sasuke would already be trapped inside of the ice prison mirror jutsu. Naruto, seeing this and wanting to help Sasuke, would jump in guns blazing, and Sasuke, turning towards him, would say, "You idiot, you would have been a much bigger help on the outside." And so Naruto, realizing this, would actually feel really bad about that, as Naruto would pretty much start spamming his multi-shadow clone jutsu, being the only thing in his arsenal at the moment, as he and Sasuke would both try to counter Haku in any way that they possibly can. Things are looking almost parallel to the original story that we get in canon. That said though, eventually when Haku would start stepping things up and throwing a bunch of senbon at Naruto, Naruto would go invisible. But unfortunately for Naruto, invisibility is not exactly going to allow Naruto to dodge these senbon that are already flying at him. So Sasuke's body would move, knowing that even if Naruto was to become invisible, he still wasn't going to be able to dodge these things. And so Sasuke, like in the original, would be absolutely skewered, as Naruto, seeing this, now completely invisible and with no footsteps visible, considering the fact that this dude is not exactly on grass, Haku has no idea where Naruto actually went. But Naruto's just sitting there staring at Sasuke's unconscious body, as something within Naruto would change. His heart would start thumping faster than usual, and his eyes would go from their natural blue color to a dark crimson, orange, reddish color. That being the case, Naruto would say, "You hurt Sasuke, I'll kill you," as he would go rushing towards Haku's direction, absolutely shattering the mirror, as to everybody else's point of view, Haku would just start getting absolutely hammered by something that isn't even there, as Naruto would pummel Haku worse than he actually does in the original story, until he finally would shatter Haku's mask, and standing on top of him, Naruto would finally realize who this is. It's Haku. Naruto, seeing this, would waver for a moment, as much like in the original, we would get Haku jumping in the way of Kakashi's Chidori, as Zabuza and the whole demon bridge encounter with Gato and his men would go just like it does in canon. Now, I know up to this point the story isn't exactly changing too much, but just know, we're laying the foundation, and when there's nothing but a foundation, you can't exactly see the vision, but just know, we're gonna start having some crazy stuff happening the more we move on with the story. That said, after this battle would take place, it would finally be named the Great Naruto Bridge, and Team 7 would be taken right back to the Leaf Village, where they would be informed of the Chunin exams.